Beloved, tonight you stand at the doorway of miracles. Tonight you hold the keys to the kingdom within you, for the treasure house of the infinite is closer than the very breath in your lungs. You need not chase wealth, for wealth is already yours by divine inheritance. You need not struggle nor toil with fear, for the law of spirit works without effort, just as the stars shine without labor, and the rivers flow without strain. This night is not an ordinary night. This night is a night of decree. For what you decree with faith, heaven establishes. The universe bends to the command of the words spoken with conviction. Say within your heart, riches divine are mine by right. Abundance flows to me with ease. I wake in the morning rich in substance, rich in joy, rich in supply. For the word you speak tonight becomes the harvest you reap at dawn. Many live with the shadow of lack because they have rehearsed lack in their minds. They lie down rehearsing fear, they wake rehearsing worry. And as they sleep, their words take root and grow into the weeds of poverty. But you, beloved, shall not rehearse lack tonight. You shall rehearse plenty. You shall rehearse joy. You shall rehearse the glorious supply of heaven that knows no end. When the heart is stilled of fear and filled with faith, heaven rushes in like a flood. Tonight, let your last thought before sleep be a golden key. Infinite Spirit opens the way for my immediate supply. I am awake to wealth. I am awake to plenty. I am awake to miracles. Say it, believe it, rest in it, and angels will attend your sleep. Do not ask, how nor when. The seed does not concern itself with how it shall sprout, it simply surrenders to the law. So it is with your decree tonight. You plant it, you release it, and you trust the unseen powers to bring forth the harvest. By morning light, you shall rise richer in spirit, richer in mind, richer in substance, and richer in every visible form. The law is exact, the word is sure, the promise is faithful. Speak prosperity and prosperity must answer. Call forth riches, and riches must come. Declare abundance, and abundance will run to meet you. This night, align your heart with heaven, and heaven will fill your hands with supply. Do this night, and you will wake up rich. The words you decree before sleep shape the riches you awaken to. For life itself is a mirror that reflects back the vibration of your inner speech. When one lies down at night, the conscious mind begins to quiet and the subconscious becomes open, impressionable, and ready to receive instruction. At this sacred moment, whatever is spoken with faith and conviction is planted like a seed into the fertile soil of the subconscious. The night hours are not idle. They are creative hours where the unseen powers move, where the divine goes forth to arrange, align, and prepare the visible manifestation of what has been decreed. That is why the last word you speak, the last thought you hold, is not a casual whisper but a command issued to the universe. If one rehearses fear, worry, and lack in those final moments, the harvest will be confusion, delay, and scarcity. But if one fills the night with words of abundance, affirmations of supply, and declarations of wealth, the morning must open with doors of increase. The decree is not mere wishing, for wishing is weak and uncertain. The decree is law, and law requires obedience. When you say before you sleep, I wake rich, I wake abundant, I wake in overflowing supply, you are not asking, you are commanding. The subconscious mind does not argue, it does not resist, it only accepts what is spoken with authority. Just as a seed does not question the sower but silently begins its process of growth, the subconscious accepts the decree and works throughout the night to align circumstances, inspire ideas, and release unseen channels of wealth into your experience. Many have lived years in lack not because abundance was withheld, but because they sowed weeds instead of wheat each night. They repeated words of doubt, entertained pictures of failure, and let their imagination rehearse defeat. They forgot that the last impression is the strongest impression, and the night hours magnify whatever was sound to decree before sleep, is to write the script that life will play when you awaken. Every morning is a new scene, and every night you are the writer. If you write with fear, the play unfolds as struggle. If you write with faith, the play unfolds as success. Imagine one who, before resting, speaks boldly, riches divine belong to me. The treasures of heaven are flowing through every channel. I rise with supply in hand, with joy in heart, with doors wide open. As they close their eyes, their spirit enters rest. but their decree continues to work like a living current, circulating, creating, magnetizing, until visible results take form. They may awake with a new opportunity, an unexpected gift, a sudden idea, or simply with a mind clearer and stronger to see what was hidden in plain sight. This is not chance, but the exact working of divine law responding to the spoken word. The night is a temple for creation, and the decree is the prayer that opens its gates. Words are seeds, thoughts are waters, and faith is sunlight. If you wish to wake to wealth, you must plant wealth with your speech. Say within yourself, "This night I sow prosperity. This night I sow joy. This night I sow riches in my mind and in my world." The subconscious, like rich earth, does not choose which seed to grow. It only gives life to whatever is planted. Therefore the wise one guards their speech before sleep, for careless words are costly and fearful words are seeds of poverty. Yet even a single decree of faith can overturn years of lack, for one seed of light can chase away lifetimes of darkness. Your decree tonight shapes your tomorrow, because the universe itself is obedient to vibration. The creative substance of life responds not to begging but to certainty. When you say, "I wake up rich," you are not describing a distant dream. You are commanding the present reality to take form in the morning hour. The decree reaches beyond walls, beyond limitations, beyond appearances. The decree summons the invisible supply that was always waiting, and it pulls it into the visible world. You may go to sleep with empty hands, yet if your decree is true, you will wake with fullness in your spirit, and what is in spirit must eventually become visible. For life is first spirit, then mind, then matter, and the decree moves the spirit, which moves the mind, which shapes the matter. The night is the doorway into the unseen workshop of the infinite. As you sleep, the divine law takes your decree and works silently, aligning people, places, and conditions. What you command before sleep is not bound by your efforts. It is multiplied by heaven's power. A farmer does not stay awake all night watching the seed. He plants it and rests, trusting the law of growth. So it is with your words. Plant them, release them, and rest in the assurance that they are working even when you do not see. When you wake, you rise not into chance but into the harvest of your decree. Every word carries power, and at night that power is doubled. The decree spoken before sleep is like a royal seal pressed into wax, imprinting upon the soul and fixing its shape. It becomes the image that the subconscious reproduces until it is seen in the outer world. The wealthy in spirit are those who understand this mystery. They do not surrender the night to fear or idle chatter. They use the night as a workshop, crafting with their words the riches of tomorrow. They know that the unseen is always greater than the seen, and that what is declared tonight must take shape in the light of day. The riches you wake to are not an accident but a reflection. Life reflects your decree. Speak wealth, and wealth must appear. Speak joy, and joy must greet you. Speak success, and success will answer. The decree is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, and the night is the hour when the bridge is built. To neglect this hour is to neglect a treasure chest already open before you. To use it with wisdom is to step into a life where every morning is richer than the one before. The words you decree before sleep shape the riches you awaken to, and the one who understands this holds the golden key. To unlock endless supply, fear rehearses lack, but faith rehearses abundance. For every thought is a rehearsal for tomorrow's stage, and every word is a rehearsal for tomorrow's harvest. When fear speaks within the mind, it begins to build images of scarcity, painting pictures of unpaid bills, empty cupboards, closed doors, and silent telephones. Fear plays its drama so vividly that the subconscious mind, like a faithful servant, begins to accept it as instruction. It says, "This is the scene my master desires." For this is what is rehearsed again and again. And without resistance it sets about to produce more of the same. Life becomes a theater where worry is the actor, lack is the stage, and struggle is the script. Yet just as an actor may choose a new play, so can the soul choose a new rehearsal, and that new rehearsal is faith. Faith rehearses abundance by seeing what cannot yet be seen, by speaking what has not yet taken form, by affirming what seems impossible. Faith does not look at the empty purse, it looks at the invisible supply already moving into place. Faith does not dwell on what is missing, It rejoices in what is already given in spirit. Each word of faith is a rehearsal of wealth, a rehearsal of joy, a rehearsal of answered prayer. When spoken repeatedly with conviction, these words impress the subconscious just as surely as fear does, but instead of reproducing lack, they reproduce plenty. The imagination becomes filled with rich scenes, the heart overflows with gratitude, the body feels the vibration of sufficiency, and the outer world begins to match the inner rehearsal. To live rehearsing lack is to live in chains, for fear binds and blinds. It blinds the eyes from seeing opportunity. It binds the hands from taking bold action. It whispers that doors are closed when heaven itself has declared them open. A fearful soul hesitates, delays and doubts, turning back at the very threshold of abundance. They ask endlessly, what if I fail? What if I lose? What if there is not enough? And by rehearsing those questions, they create their own lack. Yet faith rehearses a different song. Faith says, what if I prosper? What if doors swing wide? What if abundance floods my life in ways beyond my imagining? Faith rehearses possibility until it becomes certainty, and that certainty draws substance as iron draws the needle. Fear is not a force outside of man but a shadow born within. It feeds on imagination, it grows with repetition, and it multiplies when given attention. It is only as powerful as the words you give it. A single phrase of fear repeated before sleep can sow weeds that sprout as confusion in the morning. But faith is the light that dispels fear's shadow. Faith rehearses abundance by turning the imagination toward pictures of plenty. Instead of seeing bills, faith sees them stamped, paid in full. Instead of seeing doors locked, faith sees them opening wide to new opportunity. Instead of seeing limitation, faith sees supply flowing in streams from unexpected channels. As these images are rehearsed with gratitude, the subconscious accepts them as blueprints, and the universe itself aligns to bring them into manifestation. Abundance is the natural state of the universe. Look at the sea, it does not ration its waves. Look at the stars, they are beyond number. Look at the trees, each one drops thousands of seeds though only a few take root. Lack is not natural. It is rehearsed through fear. Abundance is natural, it is rehearsed through faith. When one chooses to dwell in fear, they are rehearsing against the current of life, resisting the river of supply. But when one rehearses faith, they are carried by the current, lifted by the tide, and supplied by the law of increase. The rehearsal is everything, for what is rehearsed becomes what is lived. Every man rehearses in the theater of his mind. The wealthy in spirit rehearse scenes of victory, hearing applause before it is ever given. The fearful rehearse scenes of defeat, feeling sorrow before any loss has occurred. The rehearsal is so strong that the body responds to it. Hearts race at imaginary danger, smiles break out at imagined success. If the body responds to the unseen rehearsal, how much more does the universe respond? For thoughts and words are vibrations, and vibrations summon their likeness. Rehearse fear, and you summon lack. Rehearse faith, and you summon wealth. Faith rehearses abundance not only by words but by feelings. To speak, I am rich, while feeling poor is only half the rehearsal. True faith enters the feeling of richness before it appears. It sits at the table of supply though the plate is not yet filled. It celebrates the answered prayer though the envelope has not yet arrived. It feels gratitude in advance, and that gratitude is a magnet pulling abundance closer. The soul that feels rich attracts richness, the soul that feels lack attracts more lack. Faith rehearses by living now, as though the promise were already fulfilled, and that rehearsal shapes the unseen into form. The rehearsal of fear is heavy and endless, but the rehearsal of faith is light and free. Fear says, there is never enough. Faith says, there is always more than enough. Fear says, I am forgotten. Faith says, I am divinely supplied. Fear says, it is too late. Faith says, in divine timing all is right and nothing is missing. Every word rehearsed is a choice between these two voices. And though fear may seem strong, a single decree of faith can silence its noise. Just as a single candle can pierce the deepest night, the rehearsal of abundance need not be complex. Even a simple phrase spoken with conviction can reset the stage. Words such as, I live in supply, I walk in plenty, I wake in riches, are rehearsals that, when repeated, weave themselves into the very fabric of life. Fear rehearses lack, but faith rehearses abundance, and whichever one you choose before sleep will greet you at dawn. The mind cannot serve two masters in the night hours. It will cling to one rehearsal or the other. To surrender to fear is to lie down with scarcity, but to surrender to faith is to lie down with plenty. The choice belongs to you, and the rehearsal you choose writes the script, that tomorrow must obey rest in divine supply, and let spirit work as you sleep. For the human effort can only reach so far, but divine law knows no limit. There is a wisdom that moves when you are still, a power that arranges when you release, a supply that flows when you no longer struggle. Many live in exhaustion, because they believe they must carry the whole weight of life upon their shoulders, as though the infinite has no part to play in their affairs. They labor, they strive, they wrestle with problems through the night, their minds turning like wheels in endless motion, yet morning comes and their burdens remain. This is not the way of spirit. The true way is rest. The true way is surrender. The true way is to trust that when you lie down in peace, the divine continues the work unseen, moving mountains, opening doors, and bringing to pass the decree you have spoken with faith. The night is not for worry but for release. Just as the body cannot heal while it is in constant strain, the soul cannot receive while it is in constant grasping. When you rest, you open the channel for supply to flow. When you release, you allow heaven's hand to move freely. Imagine the farmer who plants the seed. He does not dig it up every hour to see if it grows. He plants it, covers it, and rests in confidence that the law of growth is faithful. So too must you plant your decree of abundance, cover it with faith, and rest through the night knowing that divine supply is already in motion. The soil does not sleep in vain, it works silently, unseen, transforming the seed into roots and shoots until the harvest appears. Your subconscious is the same. Your decree is the seed, spirit is the soil, and rest is the condition that allows the miracle of growth. To rest in divine supply is to know that the universe is already abundant, and you are already included in that abundance. Supply does not have to be created, it already exists in infinite measure. It only needs to be directed into your experience. Worry blocks the flow because it clutches, doubts, and resists, but rest opens the gate. Rest says, I trust the unseen hand that governs all. I trust that while I sleep, doors are opening, channels are clearing, provision is on the way. Such rest is not idleness, it is the highest form of activity, for it aligns you with the law of spirit rather than the effort of man. Human effort is limited to time, strength, and ability, but divine supply moves through unlimited ways, touching hearts, shifting circumstances, and guiding opportunities beyond anything you could calculate. When you sleep in trust, you hand over your affairs to a power that never slumbers. Spirit does not rest. Spirit does not tire. Spirit does not delay. While you lay your head upon the pillow, the infinite is already weaving together the threads of your decree, setting into motion the right people, the right ideas, the right provisions. It may be a business opportunity prepared, a debt forgiven, a gift released, or a new door opened, but the details are not yours to manage. They belong to the law of divine order. Your part is only to speak with faith, and then rest in assurance. The worry-filled mind rehearses lack all night long, but the faith-filled mind rests in plenty, and in the morning the difference is visible. One wakes weary and fearful. The other wakes refreshed and rich in spirit, ready to step into the abundance already prepared. Resting in divine supply is not passivity, it is alignment. It is the recognition that the universe is not chaotic but ordered, that every good you seek is already established in the invisible, waiting for your decree and your trust to bring it forth. To struggle is to resist that order, but to rest is to harmonize with it. When you surrender the how, the infinite brings forth the manifestation in ways beyond your knowing. The channels may be new, the paths unexpected, but the supply will arrive. Just as rivers find their way around rocks and mountains, divine supply finds its way into your life when you stop blocking it with fear. The current of abundance is constant, but only a trusting soul floats with it. The fearful cling to the bank, exhausting themselves, but the one who rests is carried effortlessly downstream to their good. To let spirit work as you sleep is to understand that you are not alone in your journey. There is a higher intelligence that knows the path, a greater power that makes the crooked places straight, a faithful law that cannot fail. The subconscious mind, impressed by your decree, continues its work while the conscious mind is at rest. It organizes, it aligns, it magnetizes, it prepares. What you could not do in years of striving, Spirit can arrange in a night of silent work. Many testimonies speak of solutions appearing overnight, burdens lifted by morning, opportunities showing themselves at dawn. This is not coincidence but the perfect operation of divine law. The mind that releases its care to Spirit sleeps in peace and wakes to miracles. Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They do not toil, they do not spin, yet they are clothed in beauty greater than kings. This is the lesson of rest. The lily does not labor for its petals, nor does it worry through the night about tomorrow's bloom. It simply rests in the soil, receiving from the unseen nourishment already provided. You too must rest in the soil of divine supply, trusting that all you need is already given. The earth gives freely to the flower, and Spirit gives freely to you. To doubt this is to live in shadow, but to trust this is to walk in light. Each night becomes a holy act of surrender, each sleep a silent partnership with the infinite. Each awakening a testimony that heaven has been at work. Rest is not escape but confidence. To rest in divine supply is to release the illusion of struggle and embrace the truth of abundance. The supply is not delayed, it is not uncertain, it is not scarce. It is flowing even now, and your rest allows it to reach you unhindered. Just as the tides move by law, so does supply move by divine decree. You are not called to force the tide, only to trust its rhythm. When you rest, you are saying, I allow the rhythm of abundance to flow through me. I allow the wealth of heaven to find me. I allow the divine plan to work as I release and sleep. And as you sleep, Spirit works, the unseen aligns, the visible prepares, and the morning reveals the evidence of what was already true, in the invisible. Align your heart with heaven, and heaven fills your hands with wealth. For the outer world is but the shadow of the inner alignment. When the heart is filled with fear, bitterness, and doubt, the flow of abundance is obstructed, just as a clogged channel prevents water from reaching the fields. But when the heart is aligned with the divine order, when it rests in faith, gratitude, and expectancy, the channels are open, and the riches of heaven pour forth without resistance. Wealth is not first a matter of coins and currency. It is first a matter of vibration, of attunement, of resonance with the infinite source. Heaven does not withhold, for its nature is to give, its nature is to pour out, its nature is to overflow. It is the misalignment of man that creates lack, and the alignment of man that manifests supply. To align your heart with heaven is to bring your desires, your words, and your feelings into harmony with divine law. The law of abundance is exact and impartial, like the law of gravity. It does not choose whom it will bless, but it flows freely wherever the channels are open. The heart is the gatekeeper of these channels, and what it holds is what it attracts. If the heart holds fear, it attracts lack. If the heart holds faith, it attracts supply. If the heart holds bitterness, it attracts resistance. If the heart holds gratitude, it attracts multiplication. Therefore, the first step to riches is not the labor of the hand, but the alignment of the heart. For from the heart flows the issues of life, and from the heart are shaped the conditions of man. When your heart is aligned with heaven, wealth becomes natural as breathing. You no longer chase after it, for it flows to you. You no longer fear its loss, for it is eternal in source. You no longer struggle, for the supply is effortless, as streams that flow downhill. Alignment is ease, misalignment is strain. Consider the bird in flight. It does not flap endlessly against the wind. It spreads its wings and aligns with the current, and the current carries it. So it is with you. When you align your heart with heaven, the current of divine abundance lifts you, carries you, supplies you, and fills your hands with all you need. The struggle ends, not because the world has changed, but because your alignment has changed. Alignment is not a mere thought but a state of being. It is gratitude in action, faith in motion, expectancy in feeling. The aligned heart gives thanks for unseen riches, speaks life over empty hands, rejoices in promises not yet visible, and trusts that heaven's storehouse is already open. This vibration cannot be ignored by the universe, for like attracts like, and wealth is drawn irresistibly to those who live in its frequency. It may come through business, through gifts, through opportunities, through ideas, through favor. But the source is always heaven. The hands that receive are many, but the fountain is one, and it is endless. When the heart is aligned, the hands are filled again and again, never with lack, always with increase. The unaligned heart looks outward for supply, chasing shadows and running endlessly after what it already possesses by right. It blames others, fears the future, clutches tightly to what little it holds, and wonders why abundance escapes it. But heaven cannot pour into clenched fists. It cannot flow through a blocked channel. The aligned heart, by contrast, is open. It gives freely, knowing more is on the way. It blesses others, knowing blessings multiply. It expects miracles, knowing miracles are the natural currency of heaven. The aligned heart becomes a magnet, and what it magnetizes cannot be withheld. Wealth flows in, not by force but by law, not by chance but by certainty. Alignment with heaven is not about struggle or self-effort, but about surrender. To align is to release the need to control the how and when, and to rest in the assurance that the divine is faithful. Heaven does not fail. Heaven does not forget. Heaven does not delay. It is man who delays through resistance, and man who accelerates through alignment. When your heart is tuned to heaven's frequency, you walk in harmony with divine timing. Opportunities meet you at the perfect hour. Resources appear at the perfect moment, and supply arrives with precision. You cannot miss what is yours when your heart is aligned. For what is yours by divine law must come. The heart aligned with heaven is filled with peace, and peace itself is a magnet for prosperity. Anxiety chases wealth away, but peace draws it near. Peace declares that all is well, even before the evidence shows itself. Peace rests while others worry, trusts while others doubt, rejoices while others complain. And in that state of peace, heaven fills the hands of the one who has believed. For faith is the evidence of things unseen, and gratitude is the proof of alignment. Each word of thanks is a key that unlocks the storehouse, each declaration of faith a decree that wealth must obey. Say within yourself, my heart is aligned with heaven, and heaven fills my hands with supply. And watch as doors open that once were shut, as rivers flow where once was desert, as opportunities arise where once was emptiness. To align your heart with heaven is to step into the divine rhythm of giving and receiving. Heaven gives, and you receive, and as you receive, you give again.